In April 2025, they re-released my favorite Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith. Not gonna lie, my inner 13-year-old was losing it on release. That shit was so cool, it was so hype, I was fucking stoked, it was awesome. I grew up with Star Wars. I played the games, I had the Lego sets, and I watched the yearly marathons on Spike TV.
Star Wars. The complete saga begins Friday, April 4th at 8/7 Central, exclusively on Spike.
Despite that, I've been pretty much checked out of Star Wars since Disney ruined everything. Even all these years later, I still can't believe the incompetence of a billion-dollar corporation fumbling this hard. They did Star Wars so dirty. All because of ego and greed. Disney sucks ass, dude. Suck my dick. With that being said, I was genuinely excited to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters. There's something magical about watching the Clone Wars come to an end and then the rise of the Empire take its place into the original trilogy. It's a darker side of Star Wars that's always stuck with me. And this 20th anniversary felt like the perfect excuse to finally talk about it. The prequels have a weird stigma. Back in the mid-2000s, people hated them. Like, aggressively hated them. And yeah, some of the criticism is valid, but a lot of it is just butthurt fans upset it wasn't like OT. Like, look, I get it. I've had my childhood stomped out too, but guys, it's not that serious. That hate pretty much went on for the next, decade or so. And it wasn't until Disney's House of Cards finally got knocked over that people started giving the prequels a second look. And now, people are finally starting to come around. Turns out that those kids who grew up with them never stopped liking them. I've seen these 6 movies more times than I can keep track of. I have a soft spot for the prequels. The visuals are insane, and the world building made the Star Wars universe feel way bigger than before. But even through my rose-tinted glasses, I know they're messy. Like a bowl of undercooked chili. All the right ingredients, just not fully cooked.
I've accepted the truth that you were once Anakin Skywalker, my father.
That name no longer has any meaning for me.
It is the name of your true self you've only forgotten. I know there is good in you. The Emperor hasn't driven it from you fully.
The magic of Revenge of the Sith lies in watching Anakin Skywalker's descent into Darth Vader. It's a depressing story about a man destined to lose everything important to him. In episode 1, Anakin is freed from slavery by the Jedi, but is then forced to abandon his mother. Years later, he's faced with his mother being kidnapped by Tusken Raiders. After much hesitation, he decides to search for her, and when he finally finds her, it's too late. And in an instant, the closest person to him is gone. Now, in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin is faced with the same nightmare. He's haunted by visions of Padme dying in childbirth. Desperate to save her, and with the Jedi offering no real answers, he turns to the only thing that's ever made a difference in his life: power. From the most revered hero of the Clone Wars to the most feared hand of the Empire, there's a twisted kind of intrigue in watching a hero's fall from grace. It pushes back against the idea that the infallible hero will always save the day without sacrifice. It's a brutal truth that makes Anakin's turn to the dark side that much more gut-wrenching.
You fought in the Clone Wars?
Yes. I was once a Jedi Knight, the same as your father.
I wish I'd known him.
He was the best star pilot in the galaxy. And a cunning warrior. And he was a good friend.
The one scene that's always stuck with me has actually no dialogue. So right after Anakin tells Mace Windu that Palpatine is the Sith Lord, he goes to Jedi Council alone, falling apart. And at the exact moment across the city, Padme stares out towards the Jedi Temple. And for a moment, they're speaking without words. 2 people reaching out. The golden hour lighting makes it feel beautiful yet haunting. It's like the world is holding its breath for a brief moment. It's depressing because you can see how close Anakin is to making the right choice. But you already know that he won't. And what really makes this scene hit is the music. The score is easily one of my favorite things about Star Wars. John Williams, my GOAT, thank you for blessing us with so many bangers. And to be honest, it does most of the emotional lifting. Like without it, a lot of these scenes are really rough to watch.
It's only because I'm so in love.
No. No, it's because I'm so in love with you.
So love has blinded you.
Some of my favorite tracks are Battle of the Heroes, the Immolation scene, Across the Stars. I mean, technically episode 2, but yeah, shut the fuck up. The music takes me right back to that moment, every time. I don't think Star Wars would be as successful if it wasn't for the soundtrack.
Bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness.
To this day, the Mustafar fight is the perfect finale to the trilogy. Some people don't like the choreography, and I don't know, I think it's sick. So much cooler than what the other trilogies offer. Every swing of the lightsaber is charged with so much angst. Paired with John Williams' haunting score, it goes beyond just being a flashy fight. It's something way deeper, almost theatrical in how it feels. Moments like these are when you really feel the epic scale of the world. It's when Revenge of the Sith is at its best. Normally, I'm a hater when it comes to spectacle. A lot of the time it feels like it overshadows the story and takes away from it. And honestly, that's kinda true here. But what sets it apart is how much world building is packed into these scenes. Take the opening battle of Coruscant. It's the first full-scale space battle we see in the prequels, and it gives us a glimpse into the era's technology. The ARC 170 is a direct predecessor to the X-Wing. The Republic attack cruiser look almost identical to the one the Empire would later use. Even the Jedi Starfighter design looks oddly familiar.
Well, the interesting thing is that in the design language, we're actually starting to sort of tie in story elements that, the good guys become the bad guys. And you'll notice in the Jedi Interceptor that we're really starting to tie and bridge the Jedi Starfighter with the TIE fighters. You'll notice that the wings, when they unfold, have sort of early distinct silhouettes of the TIE fighter. And then the cockpit is actually starting to become a ball.
George was in his bag when it came to building this universe. The mythos he built in Star Wars pulls from real-world philosophies and cultures, blending them into something both familiar and timeless. He's always been more experimental than people give him credit for. Like, the sheer amount of detail packed into everything, from the architecture to the weapon designs to the size of the aliens' foreheads, make the world feel genuinely lived in. Huge fucking props to the production teams. They really helped bring George's vision to life, while adding their own style. It's fascinating to see the thought process behind each design choice. To me, the costume work really stands out. So much effort goes into building these backstories and cultures for characters who barely get 2 minutes of screen time. Visually, the prequels have so much personality. They stand out from any other trilogy. I don't know what the art team was smoking, but whatever it was, it worked. And they gave us some unforgettable designs.
When I was in the bathroom, I happened to be looking at this spray bottle from the top view, and I kind of saw a face in there, kind of like maybe these could be the eyes.
At the last minute, I had one little sketch I had started before for an idea for the Droid General. We had a little bit of time yet, so I just finished marking it up and I handed it over to Ryan Mendoza. And sure enough, like during the meeting, George went straight to that one and said, "This is the one."
This guy, with this has human eyes, or not human, but animal eyes, that would move around.
The Revenge of the Sith has some of the coolest world building in the entire saga. But once you look past the spectacle, the story doesn't always hold up well. If you ask someone what their favorite scene is, they'll most likely point to one of these moments here. The problem is, while these moments are sick, everything in between kinda sucks. The movie feels rushed for time, and the build-up often feels stiff. We aren't given enough time to actually sit with anything. It ends up making parts of the story feel really contrived. Take Count Dooku. Across 2 movies, he's completely underutilized. He gets maybe 5 minutes of screen time, and all we ever learn is 1, he used to be a Jedi, 2, he wants to destroy the Republic, and 3, he's a Sith. That's it. Beyond that, they don't do shit with him. So when Anakin murks him, it's like, cool, I guess they killed another evil guy. The film doesn't even wait a moment to explain what that means for the war. Count Dooku is the leader of the opposing faction, the Separatist. That's the guy they've been chasing for years now, and they treat his death like a normal workday. we learn very little about his motivations. His backstory as a former Jedi is barely explored, leaving a lot of untapped potential. And to give credit, it is implied that the war is coming to an end, but there's no tension, no weight. It's like it's over as fast as it starts. Anakin's fall to the dark side runs into the same problem. I mentioned earlier that in episode 2 his mother dies, and he responds by brutally killing an entire village of sand people. That was amazing. I want more of that. It's unhinged and shows how far he'll go. But we don't get that. Anakin's feeling of frustrations in episode 3 makes sense. He's been away at war, Jedi are still assholes, he's having visions of Padme's death, and a kid is on the way. There's a lot going on. But it's kind of wild how all over the place he is emotionally. The problem isn't that he's feeling this way, the problem is how the movie portrays it. There's no real build-up between each emotional swing. For example, when Anakin joins the Jedi Council, he's denied the rank of Master. And yeah, understandably, he's pissed. Then when he's told he can't go to Utapau, Obi-Wan gets the assignment instead. Fair enough. But the next scene has Anakin walking Obi-Wan out, and they share this heartfelt moment. Obi-Wan praises him, says he's proud, even calls him a better Jedi. It's exactly what Anakin's been wanting to hear since episode 2. Then literally 2 scenes later, Anakin is complaining about the Council and Obi-Wan. The Jedi hate, I get. Fuck you, Mundi. But Obi-Wan? That's the homie! It makes no sense for Anakin to suddenly act like Obi-Wan's out to get him right after their heartfelt moment. Unless he was just faking it to stay in Obi-Wan's good grace, but that doesn't make sense either. On top of that, he buys into Daddy Palpatine's gaslighting without second thoughts, and it just feels forced. It's moments like these that really hurt episode 3's pacing. There's no steady build to anything, you just jump from first gear to fourth. Instead of a gradual fall from grace, we get a character arc that feels really rushed and half-baked. You could argue that Anakin's desperation to save Padme justifies this level of madness. I would agree with you if their relationship wasn't so surface level. As much as I love Padme, they do nothing with her. She's supposed to be the driving force in Anakin's story, but she doesn't have much agency besides being Anakin's wife. It's a real shame because a more developed relationship could have added some real weight to his fall. Instead, he romances her, she gets pregnant, gives birth, then dies. They barely share any screen time, and when they do, it's some of the worst scenes.
It's only because I'm so in love.
The main problem is that George doesn't write good dialogue. Hold your applause, guys. I know, hot take. Instead of the characters expressing emotion through subtext, he has them saying exactly what they're thinking, and it comes off really stiff and unnatural. Esteemed glazers of Lucas, you may be thinking, but actually, George intended his movies to be understood purely through visual storytelling. Yes, you are correct. And conceptually, that's cool. George has even said that he's made these movies for kids, and I think that shows through the visual storytelling.
The films are designed to be primarily like silent films, and the dialogue and the effects and everything are just part of the musical composition to tell the story visually rather than through a lot of heavy dialogue.
As a kid, I loved this movie. Something about it hit me emotionally in a way I couldn't even explain. But watching it now as an adult, some of it is pretty rough to sit through. There's no excuse for characters to talk like oblivion NPCs. You can lean on visuals and still write good dialogue. It doesn't feel like medieval fanfic. But with all that being said, some scenes are 10 out of 10 works of cinema. But for the most part, it's rough. It feels like George Lucas' discourse always falls into two extremes. Either he ruined Star Wars or he saved it. I think he falls somewhere in the middle. You don't have to love the prequels, but there's no denying there's a clear vision behind them. It's thoughtful and grounded in something personal, and it gave Star Wars a mythos that the sequels kinda lost. Watching old interviews of George, he just comes off as a really earnest guy. You get the sense that he really believed in what he was doing, even if the industry didn't make it easy to do it his way. Hearing him talk about his early days trying to make it is honestly inspiring. At the end of the day, he just wanted to tell a story his own way, whether people liked it or not. Revenge of the Sith is a tragedy. That's what makes it my favorite in the saga. Anakin feels doomed from the start. There's this heavy prophetic sadness hanging over everything. There's nothing like that in the entire saga. Even as a kid, something about it just hit different. Looking at it as an adult, I realize it's a very, very flawed movie. The questionable writing and pacing really hold it back from being the next Citizen Kane. Like, in the context of Star Wars, it does so much to elevate the universe. If I was ranking Revenge of the Sith strictly as a film movie in the context of cinema, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. But me personally, it's getting an 8 out of 10. Yes, even better than Empire, but it's really close.
You know, it's very important that you find something that you care about, that you have a deep passion for, because you're going to have to devote a lot of your life to it, and you're going to have to really be focused on it, and you really have to overcome a lot of hurdles. A lot of people saying you can't do it, you're going to have to take a lot of risks, and you have to find something you love enough to be able to take those risks, to be able to jump over the hurdles, to be able to break through the brick walls that are always going to be placed in front of you. If you don't have that kind of feeling for what it is you're doing, you'll stop at the first giant hurdle. So I think, and you'll never make it unless you persevere, unless you overcome a lot of very difficult obstacles.
Hope you all enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're a real one. Let me know what you guys think of the video. Did you hate it? Did you love it? Do you think I'm an idiot? Either way, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I also want to thank all my patrons, especially this one. He or she is my favorite. Appreciate you, bro. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one. See y'all.